so much problem and selfishness, egocentrism, because the whole experience of the human race is there. So that arrogance of groups. Now the Europeans were right to try and see how to outflank the blockade of the Turkish. But the problem they made was that when they came to Africa and to Asia, they didn't come for trade, they didn't come for equitable interaction, they came for colonization. This is where the whole nonsense starts. So they start by taking slaves to the new, what they were calling the New World, and in the end, they establish colonies here. Therefore, to cut a long story short, by 1900, the whole of Africa is colonized except for Ethiopia. But the African people, they are tough people. They don't die easily. Africans are very tough. That's how they could manage the slave conditions in the New World and survive. They're still there. You can see them there. They survived. So those who went to the New World survived. We who stayed here survived. In spite of the slave trade, in spite of colonialism. But also, you Africans, you need to know that Africa was colonized because of internal weaknesses. Don't only blame the outsiders. Because the Europeans, you remember, they tried to colonize China, but they couldn't. China was still disorganized, feudal, but they ended up only capturing Hong Kong and Macau, and that was all. They were not able to conquer the whole of China. Even Japan, they couldn't conquer Japan. So Africa was conquered because of internal weaknesses. We could have defeated the Europeans. We could have defeated them. But our chiefs were just putting on monkey skins, running around half naked. So by 1994, South Africa gets freedom, and we think we have ended the shame of African capitulation. And this was a good opportunity for the Western countries to stop nonsense. Because Africans are forgiving people, we don't hold grudges. We said, okay, the past is the past. Even some of the people have been saying reparations. Me, I have never joined those people to say, because it was partly our fault. Why didn't we defeat these idiots when they came here? Why are you conquered? You are an idiot yourself. You can't say, I was conquered. What were you doing? Why couldn't you organize yourself? The idea that Europeans had guns, this is not correct. Those guns of those days were no better than spears. They were very inefficient, very inefficient weapons. And in some cases, where the Africans organized well, like in Sandelwana. In Sandelwana, there is a place in South Africa called in Sandelwana, where Tsetshwayo defeated the British in 1879. They could defeat, we could have defeated this, they could have defeated these invaders, but they were bankrupt themselves. So you must look at the internal weaknesses, don't just look at the outside. So anyway, by 1994, Africa had been cleared. And this is now why we needed a new start. So therefore, it is amazing to see that people can again now try to tell Africa, do this, do that. I really feel embarrassed on behalf of those people. How dare you? How dare you? These people made a mistake. Again, it was our internal weaknesses. They invaded Libya, that NATO. They invaded an African country called Libya. So therefore, the idea of the foreigners giving elections to the Africans should stop, because they should have learned this. But also, the idea by the African that Africa is poor should also stop, because it's not. Now, recently, there was a war in Europe. Oh, said, we are going to starve. These Ugandans here were talking like, some of them were talking like that. Even when I spoke to President Zelenskyy, he rang me and we spoke on the phone, the president of Ukraine. He was also telling me about food, that we can give food to you. I said, please, we don't need food in Uganda. We have got a problem of too much food here. We have to export it. So please, for food, so these people said, oh, there's a shortage of food. I said, what food? They said bread. But why are you eating bread? Why don't you eat cassava? You have got all the food you need here. Yes, we don't grow so much wheat because that's not our culture. Me, I don't eat wheat, I don't eat rice. I eat anything that I am to be told, do this, do that, because of some little help. It's really madness. So, finally, I want to assure Madam Slaughter that there will be no comprehensive sex education here. Why? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Why? You see, these people are really, they have lost their mind. In the book of Ecclesiastes, in the Bible, there is a passage which says, there is time for everything. There is time for this, there is time for that. There is time for this, there is time for that. Now, children are children. They need to grow as children. How can you now invade their childhood and you start lecturing them about adulthood? What, are you normal? What's wrong with you? Maybe Dr. Wahome can tell us, just briefly, child psychology. Is child psychology really helped by, because when you are a child, you are playing with the, I used to see my children, Mohozi and my girls, they like the comics, things, funny things. They don't have time for serious topics of this and that, and they want they want amusement. So what psychology are these using? Dr. Wahome, you help us if you can.